Before we finish, there is a little bit of Saints news. It's been a bit quieter this week, to be honest. When we last spoke, we were hoping to secure the signing of Nathan Wood from Swansea, someone we had an eye on last summer. Steve, we finally got it across the line. Seems like a good addition, and it's cost us a lot less money.
It's cheap, yeah, about £3 million by the sounds of it, which
was it £10 million being quoted last summer, wasn't it? When he had a bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming he must only have a year left on his contract. But then he's under 24, so he'd still command like a tribunal fee or whatever. But yeah, we've obviously done a deal with Swansea, which is all the more impressive given the various legal actions that have been going on over the last 12 months. But yeah, seems a reasonable deal. I'm wholly unconvinced he'll be a first choice player this season. And I think the same applies to the other lad we signed from Peterborough, Ronnie Edwards, who, again, both of those look very promising, but whether they will be forming a Premier League defence anytime soon, jury's out, I suspect. But we'll see. We'll see who else comes and goes. I mean, obviously, we've seen that. We knew Chileta was done because that was an obligation to buy after the loan a year ago, and everybody's favourite lunatic Lianco has gone back to Brazil, and I think we've kind of almost made our money back on him. So I think that's a deal that probably suits everybody. I would imagine.
These are Russell Martin signings, aren't they, Glenn? We spoke about that a little bit last week. One guy from Swansea that he trusts, and another one that kind of fits that mould of a young player that he can really sort of drill and then get his style of play across, and useful additions.
They're both kind of long-term targets, aren't they, for the club? I think Ronnie Edwards, I think our interest in him predated Russell Martin. I think I heard his name mentioned first about 2 years ago. So, but he was only 18 at the time. So I think he was already in the England sort of age group sides at that stage. So he was one that I do vaguely remember being mentioned. So what I found interesting about that one was the reaction from other clubs, fans of other clubs at our sort of level, all saying, "Oh, that's a good signing for £3 million." People who knew a lot probably know a lot more about Ronnie Edwards than I do, for example. Yeah. But I totally agree with what Steve said. I can't see them. I mean, if you took the back three that we had in the playoff final, then neither Ronnie Edwards or Nathan Wood are going to start ahead of those three in a back three. I mean, the only slight change might be if Bednarek goes, because he's only got a year left on his contract. Then one of them might start, but it's I would say it's unlikely. So I think these are squad players, and you mentioned Lianco and Chileta. They kind of, if we're going to play three at the back, which I think we are going to most of the time, or it's a definite possibility we're going to play it, then you need more central defenders, and in the squad. And Lianco and Chileta have obviously moved on, and these two kind of replace them. And and hopefully Bednarek stays, and you've got the three that were there for last year. But and Nathan Wood is obviously a player that Russell Martin wanted to bring in. This time last year, Swansea weren't going to do it last year because of their anger, and it's cost them £7 million. So well played, Swansea.
The other news today, Steve, it looks like we missed out on Liam Delap. I had an Ipswich fan text me earlier on saying, "Ha ha,
what a shame,
he's signing for us." But I kind of feel like we might have dodged a bullet there. Is it? I saw Alfie tweeting about this earlier on, though. Is it wrong to judge him on his record so far? That's someone that could develop into a really good player, and we've actually missed out there.
Well, I mean, ultimately, all you can judge a player on is their record, and his record is 9 goals in 70 games in the Championship, which is, by anybody's attacking standards, not very good. So expecting him to make the step up to the Premier League is a bold prediction, I think, especially for that sort of money. 20 million is a lot of money to be dropping on a player with. It would make more sense for a player that had no record at all, because someone would have scouted him in non-first team games and seen, right, he's got these attributes, and this is how everything would fit together with him, and we've got confidence that we can coach him into into playing in a certain way and fitting into the
Which
team
is
structure.
kind of where we were, I guess, when we were first linked with him. Was it a year ago or 2 years ago? Maybe a year ago, wasn't it?
2 years ago, I think. And
yeah,
but he's had games in the Championship now for competent teams. He was at Hull last season till he got injured, and didn't really do anything. Handful of goals here or there, but I don't think Hull fans were particularly disappointed that he missed chunks of the season, because I mean the rest of the team seemed to hold up quite well without him. Yeah, so I must admit I'm not overly worried that we've missed out on that one. There are other young players out there who, for that, I mean, if you're going to be dropping 20 million plus on a centre forward, I think you probably want something. I mean, you're not going to get proven, certainly, but you want something that's going to give you maybe a touch more certainty, I think.
You kind of feel
I mean, with teams like Saints and Ipswich, it's all about staying up. It's all about next season.
Yeah.
You know, in the first instance, it's not really about potential, and you're dropping 20 million quid on a player who might completely drown at Premier League level, and his record suggests that he's not going to be good enough to play 36 games at Premier League level and score you 20 goals. So it's if it was 10 million quid, then you'd maybe say, that's okay. Bit of a punt, and he'll play some games. He'll be sub for others, and you'll see. But it's a lot of money to spend on a striker who's got his record. And I mean, what if you look at someone like Adam Armstrong, who's got a ridiculous level ridiculous amount of goals at Championship level. What would the price for him be? It probably wouldn't be 20 million quid because of his age. But this will probably come back to bite me, but I'd back Adam Armstrong to score more goals in the Premier League next year than Liam Delap. And I think anyone would, based on previous records.
Yeah.
Even though Armstrong did kind of fail when we were up there before. So, it seems a bit of a, whilst it's always slightly disappointing when you get beaten to a player that the club wants, I'm not going to lose any sleep over this one personally.
I did think we've got enough Championship grade strikers as it is. We don't kind of need another one, really. As you say, we're looking for somebody that can score 20 goals and keep us in that league. Are you surprised that it's been a little bit quieter this week, Glenn? Obviously, there's the Ryan Fraser stuff. I thought that would have been wrapped up pretty quick. Flynn Downs sounds like it might take a little bit of negotiation there.
Still there's a lot
on Che Adams. At the moment, as we sit here and talk, we're definitely a weaker squad than we were last season. So there's a lot that needs to happen in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, there's a hell of a lot to happen. I mean, I've already mentioned Bednarek, Walker Peters. Are they going to be around? You've got in the defence, you've got Bella-Kotchap to get rid of because he obviously doesn't want to be here. I think if they did get the Flynn Downs signing over the line, that would make everybody a hell of a lot more positive, because everyone knows how integral he was to the team. And as it stands at the moment, if the first game was tomorrow, our midfield would be Shea Charles, Joe Aribo, and Will Smallbone, and with Adam Lallana as backup. So it's let's just be thankful the first game isn't tomorrow. And in attack, we'd be relying on Ross Stewart staying healthy and being any good, and Adam Armstrong being any good at this level. So there's a hell of a lot of work to do. And I mean, we're all waiting for the signings that cost a bit of money. The ones that are really going to make a difference to the first team, like Flynn Downs would if he came in now. So, but those do tend to take longer to happen. So yes and no. Whilst I'd love all 5 of these players that we need to come through the door tomorrow, I think we've got to accept that they're not going to. And the way it is. I mean, the transfer window finishes 3 weeks into the season or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there'll still be pretty crucial players arriving, 3 weeks in or whatever. So
clubs with malfunctioning fax machines at 11 o'clock at night again.
Yeah, I know we got other work to do as well. I mean, like Sulemana, it's been and he's a player that we'd be hoping to get some money for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the same with Bella-Kotchap. The same. I mean, the Tall Paul one hasn't been sorted out yet. I mean, I'll keep hearing every Turkish club under the sun mentioned, but the fact is, we haven't got rid of him yet. Yeah. So all these things
the Turks get to wait an extra week as well. Their transfer window shuts at least a week after ours.
Oh, so, God! So that could rumble on even longer.
Yeah, that's going to drag on forever.